One morning, upon awakening from restless dreams, Gregor Samsa found himself in bed, transformed into a gigantic insect. He was lying on his back, which was so hard it seemed coated in metal, and upon lifting his head slightly, he glimpsed his rounded brown belly, segmented into hard, arched sections, over which the blanket, barely able to stay in place, was on the verge of slipping off. A surreal and unsettling scene inspired by Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis. Gregor Samsa, transformed into a giant insect, lies on a metal-hard back in a dimly lit bedroom. His rounded, segmented brown belly arches upward, with a thin blanket precariously draped, almost sliding off. The room has a vintage aesthetic, with old wooden furniture and a small, rain-streaked window casting a grayish light over the eerie transformation. The mood is melancholic and tense, with detailed textures on the insect's exoskeleton and the worn furnishings around him. Asterisk, no matter how much he tried to lean his body to the right, he always rolled back onto his back. He tried at least 100 times, closing his eyes to avoid seeing his legs flailing about, and only gave up when he began to feel a slight, dull pain in his side, something he had never felt before. No matter how much he tried to lean his body to the right, he always rolled back onto his back. He tried at least 100 times, closing his eyes to avoid seeing his legs flailing about, and only gave up when he began to feel a slight, dull pain in his side, something he had never felt before. "Oh, dear God," he thought, "what an exhausting job I've chosen, traveling day in and day out. It's much more irritating than the actual work at the office. And on top of that, there's the hassle of constantly traveling, worrying about train connections, irregular meals, and a bed that's never the same. Not to mention all the casual acquaintances who are always new and never become close friends. To hell with it all." The book The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka is not a self-help manual, but by symbolically analyzing the experiences and thoughts of Gregor Samsa, we can extract valuable lessons to guide the reader in being more assertive, applying the concept of alpha decision. This approach involves decisions made consciously, proactively, and based on clear values and goals. Here are 10 lessons the book can teach us about assertiveness and alpha decision. Gregor wakes up and accepts the reality of his transformation, even though it is disturbing. Lesson: to be assertive, face the facts, no matter how uncomfortable they may be. Denying reality only prolongs indecision. Gregor reflects on his dissatisfaction with his job and lifestyle. Lesson: identify whether the effort you are investing is truly aligned with your goals or just a draining habit. Gregor does not express his concerns or discomforts with his work before his transformation. Lesson: assertiveness requires you to clearly express your boundaries and desires, avoiding the accumulation of frustrations. Gregor is seen only as a provider by his family, and his identity is defined by this. Lesson: your identity should not be limited to what you do, but to who you are. If you want to gain internal dominance or learn the pillars to build a life with more assertiveness, download the ebook for free from the link in the video description.